Afternoon, everybody. Afternoon. That was good first day. A little bit, with the testing mixed in and having to check some boxes on the first day. It moves around a little bit differently. Tomorrow we'll get back at it and get to work and get some practices and scrimmages and get moving. I think with just a little bit more uniform to it. So there'll be a really good practice on one of the groups, and then we really want to see the guys scrimmage on the other groups. Not everybody will get exhibition games, so I sometimes feel that playing in the scrimmages is the best way to evaluate some of the players that are here.
We talked yesterday, Peter, about the continuity, but one of the guys who isn't back is Gustafson, and Zach Jones. It seems like that kind of opens up an opportunity for him. I'm wondering how you feel about that, and also how much maybe that spell at the end of the season when a couple guys were injured and he got to play for an extended period, how much maybe that built some confidence that he was ready for that kind of opportunity.
I do think that he played well, played pretty well for us all year. I do think he even had a bigger role and stepped into those situations at the end of the year and really looked good as a player for us. And so that gives him some confidence coming back into this year. And so it is though, as I talked about yesterday, also a battle for positions. There's other defensemen here as well, but certainly, with the way he played last year, he played the game with confidence. That gave us confidence as coaches, and you'd like to see that come right into training camp. And as he gets time in exhibition games, that he can continue to take those steps.
I know early.
Really early.
But I mean, it still looked like he was skating a lot with Schneider today. It looked like Trouba was skating a lot with Miller. I know last year at the end of the year we saw Schneider get some time with Miller. I mean, how do you kind of see that playing out? Do you have any thoughts on that early on?
It'll move. We're gonna take a look at everything. I think there's been good pairings along the way, good line combinations along the way. Again, there could be younger players that are pushing, or players that we've acquired that are pushing from different directions, and so training camp is about opportunity as well. So that's today. Things will change tomorrow with regard to the lineup.
I'm curious, just one more question about that, but when you're evaluating that, are you valuing more continuity, or are you looking more at performance at the end of last season?
It's both. It has to do with performance. I thought that no matter what the pairs were last year, I thought that they played well. No matter what the line combinations, I think we had to do good things down the stretch in the regular season and as we pushed through the playoffs. But again, there's new people here, and so that's going to bring it to a place where we're going to look at different combinations, different power play units, different line combinations, and not everybody will be in every game. And so that changes things as well, as you're trying to get a look at a lot of different people in training camp. So it's I think it's moving through training camp, and we'll get to a point where we're ready for game one.
Jonathan, do you expect him on the ice with you guys tomorrow, Saturday? Is there any point where you look for him to get?
Yeah, I mean, so he'll come in tomorrow and he'll prep, and I think we'll evaluate it at that point.
You had Rumpy in the early group because he didn't do testing. Do you expect him to move to the main group with a lot of NHL regulars tomorrow?
The groups are going to move every day, just based on what we're trying to do and to get guys into scrimmages. To answer your question, yes, he is moving to that group, but it'll move through training camp. Players will move up and down. There's nothing. Again, you're trying to balance 61 people here at camp, 61 skaters at camp, and so it makes it challenging at times. And so we're trying to evaluate people through practice, through scrimmages, through exhibition games, and people are going to move. I wouldn't read too much into it, but to answer your question, yes, he is changing tomorrow.
Peter, how does the change with Benny not being here on a regular basis, how does that impact you at all? I mean, obviously it impacts the goalie, but there obviously was a lot of reliance on Benny and his knowledge with the guys when he got here last year. What does that do now in terms of, what do you do?
It's change. There's no question it's changed. Benny he's been a staple here for a long time. But with that, in development, just like players, Benny had a heavy hand in developing the guy that we hired. And I think that's a real positive. Benny's still with us and in the organization, still has an influence here, but, you know, he brought in a guy and groomed him and trained him, and he worked under Benny for a long time, and I think that makes the transition just a little bit easier, where you don't have somebody coming from the outside that, you know, you don't know what how they go about their business. And I think, you know, when you're learning something and you're learning from somebody and you're honing your craft, you know, to have a guy like Benny in place like that, I think is a real positive for a young goalie coach, or a young coach too, is when you can work under a veteran coach. And so for me, it's been pretty seamless in that sense. There's a lot of the same methods and philosophies used from last year that are moving forward this year.
Going back to rugby, I know you probably say everybody has to make the roster, but do you feel like he still has to make the roster here, or did you see enough last year that you're confident?
You know, it's training camp, and so, you know, you could ask about, he's a young player, and he's coming to camp here. We really liked what Matt did last year. He answered the same question about Jonesy. I don't think it's fair to just box guys in or out as people are here trying to make the team. I think when you move to the veteran players that have been here and, you know, play more minutes, those questions become a little bit more easier to give you an answer. But when the young players are here, and Matt's a young player, he played in some games for us last year. He's trying to make the team, as is, you know, different guys that were out there today when he wasn't out there. And so everybody's battling. It's training camp, and it's, like I said, some guys have already made some noise down at the rookie games. And they come back to camp here, and this is a chance for them to continue to try and make noise to show what they can do.
Sam Carrick's one of your new players. I know it was early, but he had a few goals on the rush drills. Just what do you think he can bring to this group?
He's a hard, gritty player, centerman, and so I think that's important. Somebody who can take some face-offs, kill some penalties. He's physical, can play some good defense for us. So he's a scrappy guy that, you know, has the ability to stick up for his teammates, stick up for his team, and you know, there's always a need for a player like that, somebody who can come in and play with an edge and play with some sandpaper.
What do you need to see from or want to see from some of the younger players coming into camp, like the Offmans, the Edstroms, some of those guys that were maybe in rookie camp?
Well, I mean, you want to see him go into the games and make an impact in the games. You want to see them be difference makers. You're watching them in practice. You're watching their testing and how they came into camp and the maturity physically from last year, how have they matured. Then you watch the game, and it's another year of an experience, another year's experience under their belt where they played back last year. They're back now at this camp and see the impact that they have as they get put into situations. And so, again, you leave at the rookie camp and you see a guy score 3 goals down there. Well, that's somebody who's trying to make some noise, and so that moves forward, and you look for continued, growth inside of training camp to see if he can take that step as the lineups get put in and they become more NHL veteran players as camp moves on. You want to see that impact continue to happen.
What does, how does Riley Smith's skill set fit with the way you guys play, and specific to if he's going to get that chance at Preseason, fit with the way they play?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get some looks. I said that yesterday. He's out there today. But there's no question that he's a guy who, when the puck's on his stick, he's dangerous. He's dangerous to make plays. He's dangerous to put it in the back of the net. He's proven to be a top player on teams that he's been on in the past. And so to pick up a player like that has, I think, the background of being successful as a player, and he does more than that too. Like he's a guy that can jump on the penalty kill and help out as well. And so you get a two-way player, but you get somebody that you'd like to think can make those contributions somewhere in the lineup and on the power play. where he's done it in the past. You're looking for that. You're looking for his experience as a Stanley Cup champ, and all of that comes into play.